Let's be honest. Who doesn't wish they could learn something instantly, like flicking a switch and boom, you've mastered it? Whether it's nailing that new dance challenge, impressing your friends with your guitar skills, or acing that new language, we all crave the magic of effortless learning. But as we grow older, the stakes get higher, right? We start focusing on skills that matter more in the long run: business strategies, tech knowledge, personal growth. But here's the reality check. Most of us aren't exactly great at learning efficiently, and truthfully, it's not entirely our fault. School taught us how to memorize things for a test, but once that test is over, it's like that knowledge vanishes. Turns out, memorization isn't the same as truly learning. True learning is about absorbing, practicing, and internalizing information so deeply that it feels natural. Think back to when you tried to learn something new, maybe a language, a new instrument, or even a physical skill like sports. What did you do? Most likely, you spent hours cramming, watching endless tutorials, or reading, only to find that nothing really sticks in the long run. Why is that? Because we've been taught to focus on input, reading, watching, listening. But the real magic happens when we focus on output, doing, practicing, and yes, teaching. You can't learn how to swim by reading a book about swimming. You've got to dive in. Learning is an active process, not a passive one. You've got to get your hands dirty. Here's another secret. Not everything is equally important. The 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, tells us that 80% of our results come from 20% of our effort. So when it comes to learning, the trick is to focus on the core stuff that'll give you the most value. Want to learn a new language? Don't waste time memorizing 10,000 words. Focus on the top 1,000 most frequently used words, and that'll cover 80% of all conversations. Learning guitar? Master the basic chords first, and the rest will come much easier. The key is, when you focus on mastering the basics, the rest gets a lot smoother. Now here's one technique that'll accelerate your learning: active recall. It's not enough to just read the material. Test yourself. Instead of rereading that same chapter over and over, close the book and try to remember what you just read. Your brain has to work harder to pull the info out, which strengthens the connections in your brain. It's like a mental workout. If you don't lift weights, your muscles don't grow. The same goes for your brain. But let me be clear, don't overload your brain. Cramming might seem like a shortcut, but it's actually a dead end. The spacing effect is your friend. This principle shows that you learn more effectively when you spread out your study sessions. Instead of cramming all at once, break it down into smaller chunks over time. Why? Because each time you revisit a topic, your brain has to recall it, strengthening that mental connection. It's like creating a trail through the woods. Each pass makes the path clearer and easier to walk. So, forget cramming for hours straight. Break your study into multiple shorter sessions, and you'll retain more in the long run. But the real key to mastering anything is doing. The more you practice, the faster you'll improve. You need to be engaged, hands-on, and consistently challenge yourself. Okay, let's get real. You want to get better at something? The secret is deliberate practice. That means intentionally targeting your weaknesses, not just cruising through what you already know. It's tough at first, but it's how you grow. Take drawing, for example. Don't just keep drawing the same character over and over. Challenge yourself to draw things that are hard for you. Hands, faces, different angles. It's frustrating at first, but it's how you improve the fastest. And here's a crazy idea. Teach what you've learned. It sounds counterproductive, right? But when you teach someone else, you solidify your own understanding. Try recording yourself explaining a topic, and suddenly you'll realize how much more you know or where you still need work. Another tip: engage multiple senses when learning. Your brain absorbs information better when it's exposed to different forms of input. For example, if you're learning a language, listen to native speakers, read, write, and speak it out loud. The more senses you use, the stronger the connections in your brain. It's like building a strong, multi-layered foundation for your learning. Learning doesn't have to be boring. In fact, the more fun you make it, the faster you'll progress. Set achievable goals and reward yourself when you hit them. Turn learning into a game. Track your progress, compete with friends, or try an app that keeps you motivated. Your brain loves rewards, so make it a habit. Every small win releases dopamine, and that keeps you coming back for more. But hey, let's be honest. Avoid the temptation of distracting apps like TikTok or YouTube. Keep your phone on silent or in another room while you study. Multitasking doesn't help. Your brain can't focus on two things at once. But here's the kicker. Rest is just as important as the work you put in. Learning isn't all about grinding. It's about letting your brain recover. You need sleep for your brain to process and store what you've learned. Cramming all night might seem like a good idea, but in reality, messes with your ability to retain information. Take breaks and make sure you get a full night's sleep. Your brain will thank you later. Lastly, let's talk about mindset. If you think you're bad at learning, you're going to stay stuck. But if you believe you can improve through effort, you'll unlock your full potential. Instead of thinking, I can't do this, try saying, I can't do this yet. It's a subtle shift, but it makes all the difference in how you approach challenges. And remember, learning isn't just about acquiring new skills, it's about growth. So take your time, enjoy the journey, and celebrate your progress along the way.